Brendan, a couple of weeks ago you told us about talks of Raheem's contract, that they were on hold at the request of the player and his advisors. What's your view now on Raheem bringing the subject of his future back into the public domain?
Well, I think the concentration, like I said a few weeks back, certainly for myself, is to purely just focus on his football, help him continue his development in a place where he's made great strides over the last couple of years, and for me that is the only concentration over these remaining games through to the end of the season. I think I said the last time we sat down that was the intention of the player, and it was his representatives and also the club to put it on hold. So obviously Raheem has come out and made his feelings clear on that, and hopefully now, as I said, the focus will be very much on the football.
The fact that he said he's flattered by interest from Arsenal and said it's not about money, it's about winning things, does that not detract from what you're trying to do there?
No, it absolutely aligns everything in terms of what we're trying to achieve here. Of Raheem is saying that his ambition is to win trophies and to be successful, then it's perfectly aligned with what we're looking to do. You know, Arsenal's a fantastic football club, of course, but this is Liverpool, and this is one of the great clubs of the footballing world, and as I said, for Raheem to be playing here, it's an honour for him to play here at a club like Liverpool in front of our great supporters. So and he understands that, he sees that. I think what he's saying overall is that he's got 2.5 years left in his contract. He's quite relaxed, as much as I am, about the situation, and between now and the end of the season he just wants to really focus on that.
Are you disappointed though that this has reared itself up once again? I mean, obviously with Raheem being linked with Arsenal as well, you see yourselves being linked with Theo Walcott at the same time. I mean, when you see these kind of headlines being made by players, does it disappoint you when you've tried to put it all the way into bed?
As I said, Manny, I'm quite relaxed on it. I think it's the part of the modern game. Now, people that look after players and represent players will have different ways of working, and I've seen that in all my years in football, different experiences. As I said, the focus is purely much on the football. Raheem's been involved now with the first team for 2.5 years, and in that, the player that he is today, and he's still got a lot of improvements to make, but the player he is today is because of the environment and what we've created here, and he still has got learning and development to make on the pitch, off the field, and we feel here this is a great place for him. And as I said, I'm quite relaxed. It's 2.5 years to go on his deal. He's not going anywhere in the summer, so we'll very much focus on trying to make him the best player that we can.
So what then the importance of this game this weekend to your Champions League qualification hopes, and will you have Daniel Sturridge fit for it as well?
Well, Daniel's back training with the team today. We'll see again the reaction of that tomorrow, and again it's a game that we will want to get something from. So in terms of the objectives going into the game, it's no different to what it was before Manchester United. But of course we had a disappointing result and performance against the last time we were out. So we really want to make sure we perform and give ourselves the chance to get a positive result.
What about the rest of your team news? Any other worries?
No, the team's coming along fine. The squad have obviously been away, some of them internationally coming back, and they're fine. Jordan Henderson's back in, and Lucas Leiva's back fit to be available to come in from the start. And so other than that, the squad is good.
How do you view the top four race given your remaining games?
Well, these final 8 games are going to be exciting games, and for us, as I said, there's still every possibility and chance for us to do that. We've made it difficult for ourselves because of our last performance and result, but it's certainly achievable. You know, I think that in the last 8 games, you get the opportunity to finish the season very well. And for over the course of the last 3 months, apart from the last game, we've performed in the main very, very well. But importantly, alongside that, we've got results. So I think people might look at it as a must-win game. For me, it's a must-perform game. You know, we want to perform well, and we know that when we do that, we'll get every chance of winning, whether it's home or away.
You've only won 2 out of 15 against Arsenal in all competitions. Why do you think that record is like that?
I don't know. It's just sometimes you go games and like that in terms of club to club, but certainly for us, we've performed. We'll have a look at our game earlier on in the season. We played very, very well in a system that was just starting to form. We played very, very well. We deserved more than the point that we got on that day, and obviously in last season as well, we performed very well against Arsenal. So we go to there really looking forward to the game, really motivated to get back to winning again. We've had a long 2 weeks. It's probably one of the few games where after the international break we've had to suffer a little bit because we didn't perform and we lost. But there's extra motivation there to get something from the game, and that's something that we clearly want to achieve.
Brendan, just to go back to Raheem, you say he's not going anywhere in the summer. Does money not always talk in these situations?
But I think we as a club have shown that's not to be the case. This is Liverpool's one of the superpowers of football, and the owners have made it clear, and we've seen it before, that it doesn't have to, as I said, the money doesn't come into it. So if the club isn't going to sell and doesn't want to sell, it won't sell. It's as simple as that. Money, as I said, has never been the objective here for the club, but it will be, if any player ever left here, whether it was Raheem or whatever player, it'll always be in the terms of the football club. But that's a long, long way off. It's not the case. I think for us, it's really about continuing the nurturing and development of a young player who's made huge strides, and someone who we believe we still have a lot of input into his development to come, and so he can be consistently a player playing at the very top of his game.
He's saying this standoff isn't about the money, isn't about wages. Aren't contracts always about the money to some extent?
I think for Raheem, it's purely about the football, and I know that because I speak often enough with him, and like as I said, and he's made it clear, especially recently, that he's very, very happy here in his football. I think what the kid's trying to do is just put off all talk of him being all about contracts, all about money. He is a boy who genuinely loves his football. He's played all over the field for me, but he understands and respects that the opportunity that he's had to play all over the field has been great for him in his career. So I think that's all he wants to do. He wants to concentrate on his football, and anything other than that, he's always left that to his representatives to look after. So for now, hopefully, as I said, the focus will be on the football. He still has 2 and a bit years left of his deal. So it's not something that we're overly concerned on, and I'm confident that between now and the end of the season, and hopefully at the end of the season, we'll find the solution to that.
But if he does care about the football club and what Liverpool and you are doing here, are you surprised then that he's decided to essentially go behind the club's back to do this interview?
Well, listen, it's something that he clearly, there was no permission by the club. It was something that surprised us all, to be honest. But listen, he's a young player that's still learning and still developing, like I said, on and off the field. And sometimes you'll make mistakes as a youngster. But for him, our relationship is strong, which is important. He knows that I'm working in the best interest of the football club and for him. And our focus is about improving his development as a player. And as I said, he will learn as time goes on. Like we all do, you make mistakes in your life, especially when you're young. And but for him, he's very much focused on his football now, and that's the message, really.
Brendan, Arsenal at the Emirates, it's not do or die for your Champions League ambitions, but as you mentioned before, it's not a game you can afford to lose. So how do you sort of pitch it tactically? Because in some ways, Arsenal, you don't want to go toe-to-toe with in a slugfest, the football they play, and a bit of added pressure on the players for this one, do you think?
I wouldn't totally agree with that. I think we go into the game being happy to play our game. We respect Arsenal like we've done in the last couple of seasons here in terms of the football element, but I feel that our possession wasn't good enough in our last game. The key for us in the first half against Manchester United, we didn't keep the ball well enough. And positionally, we we were never in position to receive the ball and to press the ball. We were in a half position. So we've talked about that, we've analysed that, we've worked on that in order for us to maximise how we've been working. We need to keep the ball better, we need to be technically better. And that's a huge part of our game. But like you said, it is Arsenal's game. But for us, we'll go there tactically, you know, very clear on the idea of the game. And like you say, we need to get something from the game, that's clear. But that was the same before we played the Manchester United game. Arsenal was a game that we wanted to ensure that we got at least a point from. And that will be the case at the weekend.
There was a flatness about the performance against United in the first half and improvement in the second half, but you could sense the evaporation from the fans, you know, about the defeat, and, you know, the belief had gone after the game. But it's one defeat in 14 Premier League games, and a good performance and a good result against Arsenal, and, you know, you're really up and running again.
Yeah, I think obviously the performance disappointed, but we were all disappointed, not just the supporters. We ourselves felt that we didn't do our own performance justice how we'd been for a few months. And like as I said, we started the game very slowly. Our possession wasn't very good, and we gave the ball away too cheaply. And positionally, as I said, that was key for us in how we work. And we just didn't get into good positions on the field, either to attack or press the game. And give credit to Manchester United, they played well in the first half. Second half we were better, you know, we showed great spirit and great character to keep the game right the way going to the very end. But we didn't get anything from it, and that was the disappointment. So now we've recovered, and we'll look to take all the positives of the last few months into the next game.
Presumably you want to find that momentum again that you had in January, February. Maybe the last two matches haven't lived up to those levels that you're operating at?
No, but it's very, very difficult to maintain that right the way through. I think the run that we've been on, the performance level in the main has been outstanding, alongside the result. Against Swansea, second half we were excellent and got the result. Manchester United, over the course of the game, we probably didn't deserve to get anything from it. But that's football, that's the honest appraisal of the performance. But what I've got a group of players that are very, very honest players. They're very committed. They're also very young, so they're still learning, some of the players. And hopefully, as I said, we can take a lot of the good parts of our game, elements of that, into the game at the weekend. And we respect Arsenal. We know it's a difficult game, but I think they understand as well the quality that we have in our team that can also hurt them.
8 big games, but is there any more focus on Arsenal away, Chelsea away, which obviously capture the public's imagination?
No, it's just the next game, really, for us. That's the only focus for us. We've had a long 2 weeks to think about our next game, so our focus is the next game, and that's Arsenal.
Brendan, just quickly on Raheem, I know you said that when we talked on his contract until sort of towards the end of the season, but you've got people here, in addition to yourself, people like Steven Gerrard, Kenny, who could maybe talk to him. How much influence can they have over his decision or his future?
I think that any talks with Raheem will be within, and I said that there's enough people around the club to encourage him to want to be here. But as I said, I'm quite relaxed on it.
And just on team-wise, you've got Martin Sturtle suspended obviously this weekend. He's been virtually now present for this season. I mean, that'll be obviously a big loss, but you've got to cope with that.
Yeah, we've done it before. We've had important players that haven't played. Thankfully, the makeup of how we work is built around the team and the collective. And of course, Martin has been a very important player for us. I'm bitterly disappointed that our appeal, wasn't successful, because I felt it was unjust in terms of he's getting the ban. But we have to live with it. He can't play for 3 games, and there'll be an opportunity for others to come in and hopefully perform well in the team.
Brendan, just ask Adam Lallana, is he fit?
He will hopefully be training with the team tomorrow and available for the weekend.